In this video I'm going to be taking a look at a new plugin from Denise Audio called Dragonfire, which is a tonal compressor. And yeah, I'll just use it on a track here and let you hear a bunch of different examples of how it sounds, and then I'll tweak the different controls and tweak the settings that I've already chosen and allow you to hear what it's doing. It has all the controls that you would expect on a compressor. So you got your threshold, which you can adjust here or just by dragging it on the actual meter. You got your ratio, high pass filter, low pass filter, mix knob for parallel compression, a push pull knob which adjusts these frequencies. So it has an EQ built in. You can sort of shape the tone of the compressor or the compression that you're using. And then the push pull adjusts the amount of EQ that is applied. You've got your attack and release. You've got a clipper, make up gain. You've got a drive section which has a sort of tube saturation. You can adjust the curve and the RMS and the knee, the curve and the RMS. It's kind of hard to know what they're doing. You just have to pay attention and listen. I'll try it out on some drums and I'll let you hear what it sounds like with drums. It's probably a little bit more apparent. Then you have a random button, which basically just does a random EQ and compression setting. I would do that, but it'll mess up my settings. And one thing that this actually could use is an undo and redo button, just in case you're going through random and or accidentally hit it and then you lose your settings if they're not saved. I don't tend to save my settings as presets because I tend to just use a different setting on each song that I'm working on. So that's one thing that'd be cool, is an undo redo, unless I'm missing something. I actually thought that was it and I tried it, and that's to switch to the next preset and the previous preset. At first glance, the interface might seem a little bit intimidating and hard to wrap your head around, and I find that is the case with a lot of the Denise Audio plugins, that there's a lot of features built into most of their stuff. And this is a great thing, but it takes a little while for you to wrap your head around stuff and figure out what it actually does. But yeah, it's really interesting to see a plugin company that's actually doing something new and original with a compressor and a different take on it. The guys at Denise definitely have some really interesting ideas, and they're making some cool innovations. So can't criticize them for that. I think at the minute this is 50% off at the time that this video is posting. So that's also cool. I'll leave a link in the description and you can check it out. So yeah, I'll just go through and I'll let you hear what it sounds like on various instruments in this track that I'm remixing. I need to put more vocals on it. The vocals are muted at the minute. I'm going to retrack them. But yeah, the majority of the instruments on this I've mixed with Dragonfire, plus a bunch of other plugins, but for the compression I've used Dragonfire. So I'll solo this track and I'll let you hear what's going on with the acoustic guitar first. So I'll bypass it here. There'll probably be quite a big gain difference. Tell you what, I'll put in gain match, and we'll do a gain match comparison here. So that's the before. That's before, and that's after. So with the tonal shaping, I've removed a lot of the low end of the guitar, the boominess. Boosted a little bit of the mids and the highs, the high mids. Rolled off the bottom end completely. So on this one I've cranked up the drive to give it a bit of tube saturation. Boosted some of the bass, cut a little bit of the around 240 to get rid of some of the sort of muddiness. Boosted some of the high frequencies. I'm monitoring through VSX, so I'm going to boost or go to a bass heavy profile. So I haven't used it on the trumpet. I'm using the Slate FG2A. I'll take the FG2A off and I'll put Dragonfire on. Resizable interface. So a lot of people didn't like that the Denise Audio stuff was quite small interfaces. But now it's fully resizable, which is awesome. So you can see the gain reduction here. Nothing crazy. Let's try. So you've got a solo button as well. There are a load of videos on the Denise Audio website as well that explain exactly what all these settings do. They sort of walk you through it, which is pretty cool. Oh. Extreme close-up! For people that remember Wayne's World. Went pretty subtle on that one, nothing crazy. I find that trumpet can become overpowered in the mix quite quickly. Here we've got it on acoustic guitar solo as well. on this secondary little acoustic bit. So this is the clipper. The push pull. Notice what it's doing here with the EQ. So that was just a doubled up kick and a snare for the main drums. I'm just saying the curve and the RMS can be quite hard to hear. And because there's no visual feedback, it's quite difficult to know just what these two are doing. The drive is really satisfying though. I've also been trying out a plugin called Sienna from Acoustic Audio, which seems like a really nice addition to the VSX. It has a profile for the VSX headphones, plus tons of other headphones, so I'll hopefully have a video up on it at some point. Just trialing it at the minute and walking it through its paces. Seems to be translating pretty well through the VSX rooms. No really obvious issues at the minute. This is another plugin that I'll probably do a video on. It's built into the newest version of Cubase. It's awesome. Frequency version 2, basically. But they've added dynamic EQ in it, and it's very, very surgical and useful. But yeah, my conclusions on the Denise Audio Dragonfire is it's a really interesting take on a compressor, similar interface to their other plugins, and similar sort of range of features. You get a lot for your money, and they're at the minute, I'd say it's like 50% off. Definitely worth taking a look at, and really good results with it so far. So, unlike some of the other plugins from Denise Audio, which add quite a bit of latency, the Dragonfire doesn't appear to add any latency, which is pretty cool. Means you could track through it. So you see here where it's on a channel on its own, there's no latency. So yeah, that's cool. But yeah, like the other Denise Audio plugins, they have shown consistently that they have a really unique sort of vision on processing, and they want to do original things and do things that other people aren't doing. Things that when you see it, you know, this kind of tonal compressor, you sort of see it and the reality of it, and you think that makes perfect sense. I guess, you know, there's maybe been similar things done in the past, but nothing quite like this. An undo redo would be good if you're just going through these random and you find one that you kind of like, and then you do it again, and the next one you don't like. It'd be cool to be able to go back to the previous one. Some visual feedback on what the curve and RMS are actually doing, and the knee could be useful. And yeah, I mean, it's a cool plugin. I'd recommend you check it out for sure. Cheers.